There was one jump scare that really made me jump out of my bed.
Right out of your bed?
Yeah, into the ceiling.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. It's pretty good.
The Stranger's Prey at Night.
I mean, if you like that kind of thing.
I loved it. I thought it was super fun.
I know. But you like people invading your home.
I love it. My favorite.
Interests included.
Hello.
We are here to do a micro.
Yeah.
Microtheticast, to be exact.
That's true. It's like a little baby version of the Hypotheticast.
Mm-hmm. And what are we doing this week, David?
Well, we always play a game on the Microtheticast because they're fun. And this week we are playing a game that one of our friends made up called Fallout Shelter, which involves the nuclear wastes of the future and us living among them. In our journeys, we will be approached by many different creatures, people that have powers and accessories. We have generated those all. We wrote them before the show, and we will reveal them all to you now. What will happen is we will see everybody that's out in the wasteland, and then us three will do a little draft to pick our favorite ones, maybe because they're super strong or because they're really cute. And then after we do that, we're all going to talk about how in our little Fallout shelters, we can make a radio show and what that radio show might be like, starring those people or creatures.
Fallout Shelter FM.
Let's get into this drafting process.
Yes.
Yeah, who's in there?
First up, Anna Kendrick.
Oh, I know her.
She has a sentient ventriloquist dummy
Nice.
Oh, nice.
and can anamorph into a possum.
Wow.
It's a strong player right out the gate. Next, we have the kid who plays Will on Stranger Things. I'm sure he has a name, but All right, the kid who plays Will on Stranger Things, who has a mood ring that plays songs appropriate to your mood.
Oh.
Also, his tears are filled with nutrients.
Oh, tasty.
Oh,
Great.
wow.
Useful.
So if he cries, the sad song plays and you get to eat it.
Make
Yeah.
him cry.
Then we have Bruce Willis,
Nice. Love that guy.
who has a box with a big red button that says push me.
Oh, okay.
He also gives the best hugs.
Oh.
That's a true fact. It's on his IMDb
that's
trivia
just- yeah.
page.
Next up, Rainbow Bright
Oh, that one.
with a laser clarinet.
Pew.
She would.
She
And
would.
she breathes fire whenever she's happy.
Yay.
Next up, we have Big Bird,
Oh, the biggest of birds.
who has a robot butler, handy,
Nice.
and is telepathic if making direct eye contact. So that's mildly useful.
Very useful, I would say.
Next up, we have Celine Dion.
Dion.
She has a saxophone that grants wishes.
Nice.
And she looks exactly like Patrick Stewart, so it is a bit confusing, but it is Celine Dion.
That's what's weird.
Yeah,
quality to have.
that is weird. Next, we have Angela Merkel,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
who has a flying bathtub
Whoa, fun.
and giant, super sensitive ears.
Oh, she's patrolling.
Ronald McDonald,
Blech.
What?
who has a tiny narwhal friend
Uh-huh.
and can do any impersonation perfectly. Oh, that's a good skill.
yeah.
And finally, Ira Glass,
Hey, there he is.
who has a locket with a picture of who the wearer loves most inside.
Yeah, it changes.
He can also fly, but only while he's dancing.
Oh, fun.
Wow, what a bunch of choices that
What a
is.
So-
lineup. What a lineup. Okay, so
David,
who's
do you wanna
going-
go
who's
first?
going first?
Let's
I don't know.
spin the bottle.
Yeah.
David.
Oh, no. Who do I want?
Quick.
I want the kid who plays Will on Stranger Things that has that sweet mood ring that plays songs appropriate to his mood, and his tears are filled with nutrients. I think that will be essential to maintaining a Fallout shelter.
I'm going to take Rainbow Bright, that laser clarinet, who breathes
Yeah.
fire when she's happy.
Breathes fire when she's happy. Do you
Uncontrollably.
tell me how you picture the laser clarinet working?
When she plays it, it can also
it shoots a laser?
She has to play a series of notes to make the laser
okay.
come.
Depending on the series, it's a different kind of
It
laser.
also just looks real cool.
Oh, yeah.
It glows.
Kind of a out of left field choice here, but I'm going to go with Ronald McDonald.
Oh, nice.
Mainly because of his tiny narwhal friend and the fact that he can do any impersonation perfectly.
That's pretty
Yeah.
essential
If
to
he's
a
on the
radio show.
radio,
Yeah.
people
Who
just
knows?
think anyone's there.
Anyone. Oh, it's me again, huh? I want Big Bird, who has a robot butler and has telepathy if making direct eye contact. I think that's going to be real helpful. And who doesn't want it's two. I get a robot butler and I get Big Bird. What a deal.
Nice. I'm going to take Bruce Willis because I just want that box that has that mysterious button on it that says push me.
And he is Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he is.
A very talented man.
Yes, he phones it in a lot, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, well,
a lot
okay.
sometimes.
Maybe you can have a call-in show.
Yep, where he phones it in.
Okay.
Phoning it in with Bruce.
There it is.
I'm going to choose Angela Merkel, her flying bathtub.
God, that one is good.
And giant super sensitive ears.
I just feel like she's like a great sentry. She can just like float around your shelter and like hear it all.
She's a good leader too.
A very good leader. I want Anna Kendrick that has a sentient ventriloquist dummy and can anamorph into a possum.
Mm-hmm.
So helpful. You can't kill a possum.
I'm going to take Ira Glass with the locket with the picture of the person who wears it loves the most.
So who do you think Ira Glass loves the most?
I hope it's me.
His wife.
Maybe it's you.
I hope it's me.
That leaves me with someone that I'm very happy with. Celine Dion, a saxophone that grants wishes, and she looks exactly like Patrick Stewart. So something weird happened in the blast.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be people that, everybody got mutated.
Yeah,
and some of them just turned into other people.
Right, exactly.
Who knows?
They were just standing too close.
Yeah.
Great. So now we should go around and talk about what radio shows our crew are going to do. David, do you want to start?
Sure.
Yeah, he does.
If there are other details that you want to include that aren't radio related, that's fine. The Fallout Wasteland is a treacherous place, and there can be many things that could happen. But specifically, we will be talking about what kind of radio show we will be making for the one radio station that still exists in the Wasteland. WSTE. Waste.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what the waste. So, first of all, I think there will be some background music provided by the Mood Ring that plays songs appropriate to our mood, or to specifically the kid who plays Will on Stranger Things' mood.
You could give it to the other people.
I could give it to the other people as well. That's true. He could spread it around depending on whoever was the happiest or the saddest. It would depend on the tone of the radio show, I think. But I think what we would have would be an interview show. I think we would send Anna Kendrick out into the world as a possum to do some scouting, to find an interesting character of some kind, to bring them back. And Big Bird would definitely be the one doing the interviewing, because Big Bird not only has a robot butler to handle the sound cues and the production stuff that need to happen for the show, but also has telepathy if making direct eye contact, which is an amazing interview skill, because you can tell where your subject wants to go, maybe what sort of leading questions to ask, maybe if they're feeling uncomfortable and they don't want to talk about that thing anymore, you can ask a different question. And Big Bird is just so personable anyway. Yeah. I would love to be interviewed by Big Bird, and I think everyone in the Wasteland would also. I'm pretty sure that sentient ventriloquist dummy that Anna Kendrick has is just going to be banished to a corner because this thing's nasty. Maybe that thing will be like the host, like the sign-off voice, be like, tune in next week to find out what that big pterodactyl has to say. But for the most part, we live on the tiers that the kid who plays Will on Stranger Things, he cries, we eat, we all live. It's great. Although it does probably play sad songs when he cries so that we can have nourishment. But it sounds like a pretty functional radio show. Be real hard-hitting, really get to the issues that matter in the waste.
I'd listen to that.
Yeah.
Probably because there's no other options.
There's no other radio stations.
Might as well. I think I'm going to bring back the radio game show format. That's something I think I would have a show, and it would be called Who Will Push It? Because Bruce Willis has this box with the push me button.
Yeah.
And the whole show is kind of centered around this box. Like, we don't know what it is. Like, he's like, oh no, I just found it, guys. It was glowing and I picked it up and here it is. And so we've decided to make a game show based around this box. Rainbow Bright with her laser clarinet is kind of like the Paul Schneider or Kevin Eubanks or Reggie Watts of the show. She's like the band leader.
Yeah.
And so she's just hanging out with like a orchestra of it's probably robots playing instruments. Ira Glass hosts the show. and he checks in with Rainbow Bright kind of at the top of the show.
Yeah,
and he's like, how you doing, Rainbow Bright? And then we like wait to see if she's going to breathe fire or not. And that lets us know how she's doing.
Because she breathes fire if she's happy.
Yeah.
Right?
So if she breathes, like there'll be that sound of the fire and people, then there will be an audience. There's a live studio audience. Okay. And they'll kind of there'll be screams of like, oh, and you'll be, are they excited or are they burning alive? Like you're not really sure.
That's part of the game show.
Yeah, it's part of the show in this nuclear wasteland. Then we proceed into the main part of the game show. There's a guest on who's like kind of the contestant on the show, and the way that ultimately what's going to be decided at the end of the show is who will push the button. But the first half of the show, Hourglass takes the locket that has the picture of whoever the wearer loves the most, and he puts it on the guest, who is sometimes a celebrity guest, sometimes like someone like an animal handler or someone famous for maybe doing something heroic or some weird talent. We don't know who it's going to be that week, but they put the locket on them, and then that person has like a series of other people with them, and the audience gets to know them, and then the audience votes on who do they love the most. And then halfway through the show, it's revealed who they love the most.
Who they actually love the most.
Yeah, you reveal the locket, and you find
War
out.
of the Roses show right there.
And then the audience, so this is halfway through, halfway point. Locket is opened, but there's like a cage with the guest in it, and then the panel. And if it's like the animal trainer, it's like which animal does he love the most? We see. And so then the second half of the show, though, is they have to, amongst themselves, the guests, now that they have this information, there's like a heated debate who's going to have to go push the button, which is in another cage on the other side of the studio with Bruce Willis is just in the cage holding the box, and he's like, I don't know who's going to come push the button today.
I love that he has to hold it.
Yeah,
he can't just put it down.
That's his job, is to hold the box. And then the second half is just the audience watching this debate happen. I should say that the audience votes for the first part, and if they're correct about who it is that they love, then there's like a distribution of rations for food for that day.
Yeah, some tears from the eyes of
survival.
They get to eat for that day.
Can eat. It's like the Hunger Games.
So then the very final part is however they decide, I don't know, like they actually fight each other, or they just debate and say, okay, I guess if you don't love me the most, I'll go push the button. It could be bad, it could be good. They go into the cage with Bruce Willis, they push the button. Now, we don't know right now what that button does, so this could be a one episode game show.
Yeah,
it just destroys the studio. If it's something nice, then I guess we have another episode next week. So tune in then.
More people want to push the button.
But if we don't have it next week, it's because the entire studio exploded. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we traveled through time. So there's a lot of reasons to listen to this show.
Oh yeah, especially the pilot. That's really the
one you want to make sure you listen to.
Appointment listening, absolutely.
My shelter does a classic advice radio show. Call-in, although it's not call-in because phone lines are a bit dodgy post massive nuclear destruction.
Dodgy.
So all three of my people, Celine Dion, Angela Merkel, and Ronald McDonald, they're all a part of making the show. They all help give the advice because they're all equally qualified, and they can give advice about different types of topics. Celine Dion, matters of the heart. Angela Merkel, geopolitical issues. Ronald McDonald,
fast food related discrepancies.
Yeah, exactly. So many different angles. It begins by Angela Merkel gets in her flying bathtub, just like you said, flies around, and she uses her super sensitive ears to hear people's questions. So you basically, everybody else in the wasteland has to know when they can shout their questions into the air, and then she will hear them all, and she'll jot them down and then bring them back in.
That's really good.
And then
she could come flying over your house next.
Yell now.
Ronald McDonald and his cute tiny narwhal friend. That's kind of the narwhal is kind of the mascot of the show. Aww. He just kind of squeaks around. Sometimes they think that it would be appropriate to have the advice given in the voice of a celebrity that isn't around anymore, and so Ronald McDonald can give the advice in the voice of any celebrity. Sometimes that's particularly soothing to the people who need advice.
I bet it is.
Also, sometimes if they're really moved, and it has to be like a really poignant, like they all have to be in agreement, Celine Dion will play her saxophone and grant one wish for the person who is needing advice.
But only if it's like,
but only if it's really special and they all agree, because they don't want to go crazy with that saxophone.
Who knows if it'll run out?
Exactly. So that's pretty much it. I think the thing that they have to hide is that Celine Dion looks like Patrick Stewart. So she can never leave the house so that everybody continues to believe that it's Celine Dion.
What would happen if they found out?
I think they'd be afraid that people would think that it's not really Celine Dion, that it's Ronald McDonald doing an impression of Celine Dion when it actually is her.
How confusing.
So, yeah.
Oh, so many layers of impression and lookalike.
But they would wonder why they don't hear Patrick Stewart on the show.
Well, Ronald McDonald could still do a Patrick Stewart
That's
impression.
true,
That's
I
a
guess.
good point.
So. He could just do the show by himself.
He could, but he needs Celine and Angela's ankles on the.
Oh yeah, he gets a little carried away if you just set him loose. Ronald McDonald needs to be reined in.
Yeah,
that's just true about 2019. We need to take care of that guy.
That was great.
That
I think
was
that
great.
all of our stations or our shows complement each other very well.
Yeah, I would. This is a good network.
Cool.
I think we need a couple more shows just to kind of fill it out. But if you have any ideas, listeners,
if you
feel free
listeners
to
want to pitch to us your own Fallout radio show, let us know.
Definitely.
If you guys want to find us on the internet, you can find us on Facebook at Hypotheticast or find us at our new Facebook group, Hypotheticast Fan Collaboratory. You can also find us on Twitter at Hypotheticast, on Instagram at Hypotheticast_IG. You could email us, hypotheticast@gmail.com, or go to our website, which is hypotheticast.club.
Do it. Also, leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcast app you like. Just a reminder that when we get 100 iTunes, or we'll say maybe any reviews added up, 100 total, I will be tattooing the VHS cover of Fern Gully on my face for a day. It's not a permanent tattoo. But just so you know, that offer's out there. I don't know what our review count is at, but it's approaching 50. So I think we're almost halfway there.
That's pretty important.
We got this.
Oh my God, I can't wait for
I'm
that
ready.
day.
I'm ready for this. So please make it happen for me. And also just tell your friends about us.
Thanks to Jaden James and the Hunger for their song Killing It from their album Raw. And thank you to Christian Hagen for his logo. Thank you to the listeners. We love you. We miss you. Again, as we announced last week, you can find us on Radio 5 Watt if you listen at 7 p.m. Tuesday night. You may even be listening to this on Radio 5 Watt Tuesday night at 7 p.m. You can find us there every Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's a real cool thing.
Yay!
Wow.
Bye. Love you.
I'm marching, cause I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm killing
Yeah.
Breathy Barry White attempt is a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, I think it's tipping into the creepy trucker on the CB radio.